You've been told that you hide your emotions too much. You've been told that if something hurts, you should just let it out. You've been told that crying alone isn't healthy. And you've probably been told, more times than you can count, that you need to open up. After hearing that long enough, it's easy to start believing that something about the way you feel is wrong. But I'm here to tell you something important. The explanation you've been given for why you cry in silence is incomplete. And in many cases, it's wrong. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not emotionally blocked. You are not weak. And you are certainly not broken. What psychology is actually describing is not suppression. It's a different kind of emotional intelligence. But I prefer a different term. You are not someone who lacks emotion. You are someone whose system is designed for controlled depth. While others experience emotions like sudden bursts, your brain experiences them like layered signals. And today, we're going to look at the neuroscience that explains why you don't cry loudly, publicly, or impulsively, and why that silence is not a flaw, but a finely tuned regulation system. To understand yourself, we have to look at your hardware. Because this isn't just a habit or a personality quirk, it's biology. Research shows that your brain processes emotional information differently than most people. Think of the emotional system like a control panel. For many people, when emotion appears, expression follows almost immediately. It's fast, it's efficient, it releases pressure quickly. But your brain works differently. When emotion rises, the part of your brain responsible for awareness and control stays online. You feel deeply, but you also observe yourself feeling. Instead of reacting, your brain pauses. It checks the environment. It assesses safety. It considers consequences. And if the conditions don't feel right, expression is delayed. That pause is what creates silence. This is why you don't cry in front of people. Not because you don't trust them. Not because you don't want support. But because your nervous system is selective about vulnerability. Your brain doesn't ask, "Do I feel like crying?" It asks, "Is this a safe place to release this?" Another piece of this has to do with empathy. People who cry in silence often have heightened empathic sensitivity. You don't just feel your emotions, you absorb emotional atmospheres. You notice tension in a room. You sense mood shifts. You pick up on what's unsaid. That means your emotional system is often processing more than one signal at a time. So your brain delays release until the emotional noise quiets down. You wait until you're alone. Not because you're avoiding emotion, but because that's when your system finally has enough space to process everything it has been holding. This is not imagination. Your brain is literally managing emotional load. And this leads to the most misunderstood part of your wiring: depth of processing. Instead of expressing emotion outwardly to regulate, your brain regulates internally first. You don't cry to be seen. You cry to understand. That's why your tears come quietly. They aren't reactive. They aren't performative. They are integrative. You may have judged yourself for this, for holding things in too long, for not releasing emotions the way others do. But here's the science. You are not slow to process emotion. You are thorough. While others discharge emotion quickly, your brain runs a full internal simulation. It connects the present feeling to past experiences. It predicts future outcomes. It searches for meaning. That hesitation you feel before breaking down isn't confusion. It's computation. Now you might wonder, if this way of processing emotions is so heavy, why does it exist at all? This is the most important part. Evolution does not keep traits that serve no purpose. If crying in silence were a weakness, it would have disappeared long ago. But it didn't. Because every group needs people like you. In early human communities, there were those who reacted quickly and loudly. They were essential. They took risks. They moved fast. But a group made only of reactive individuals wouldn't survive. It needed people who noticed subtle changes. People who sensed danger before it was obvious. People who processed emotional information before acting. That was you. Your silence was never emptiness. It was observation. Your quiet tears were never fragility. They were containment. Modern society doesn't value this kind of processing. It's loud, fast, emotionally performative. So when you don't express things the expected way, you start questioning yourself. Why can't I just let it out? Why do I always cry alone? But being different doesn't mean being defective. Carrying this depth comes with a cost. Because you process emotions fully, you reach your limit faster when you suddenly need solitude or silence. That's not drama, that's capacity. Your system has reached saturation. Psychology offers a powerful metaphor for this. Most people are like dandelions. They grow almost anywhere. Noise, pressure, chaos, it doesn't matter. But you are more like an orchid. In harsh environments, orchids struggle. And for years, you may have blamed yourself for that. But research on vantage sensitivity shows something remarkable. When orchids are placed in the right environment with the right pace, boundaries, and recovery, they don't just survive. They outperform. The same is true for you. You don't need to cry louder. You don't need to force expression. You don't need to toughen up. You need conditions that respect how you process. When you stop fighting your wiring and start designing around it, something shifts. Your silence becomes discernment. Your emotional depth becomes insight. Your quiet processing becomes strength. This is how weakness turns into advantage, not by changing who you are, but by understanding yourself deeply enough to work with your nature instead of against it. So if you cry in silence, remember this. You are not broken. You are not emotionally blocked. You are not weak. You are someone whose nervous system values safety, meaning, and depth. And once you learn how to honor that, the very thing you once tried to hide becomes the source of your strength. Because in a world addicted to noise, the person who understands silence understands power. And now, you understand yourself.